Okay, I just did a video, but then the sound was coming off my headset because I had my webcam undone, and every time I plug it back in, it resets it to the default recording of my headset. Okay, what's happening? This is gonna be a personal chat. I wanted to share some things, and at the same time, I wanted to let you know. For the people who are interested in Skyrim, I think it's going to come to a halt, to an immediate halt right now, because I have to return the computer that I borrowed from my friend's brother who went away to college. He called me today and he wants it back. It's his computer. At some point I imagined that, they would want it back, but I didn't think that it would. Well, I guess I completely forgot about it. I got carried away. So I have to get comfortable again using my old computer, and at the same time there's some things that I won't be able to do, including Skyrim, because I have the computer that I have cannot handle upgrading a graphics card, because it's a small shuttle PC that I built myself a while ago. I don't remember when, and it's using a 9400 GT graphics card. It is a very good processor. It's a dual core, even though this computer has a quad core processor. I don't know how to explain it, but it's better, it's faster. I felt it immediately as I converted and started using this computer that I can't explain it. I don't have anything to go back, because it's quite random, but it's better. Even the Windows index, the Windows rating system gives it a much higher rating. So yeah, I have to put this computer back together, because when I was changing it, I had to remove my old hard drive, and I began using my whole old hard drive in this computer's hard drive, in this computer, which this computer had an existing hard drive, but I wanted my, obviously my files, and I had this, I had this imagination that all it would take was simply putting my old hard drive into a new computer, and then voila, everything would work as it was working before. But no, it was not the case, because the BIOS of the motherboard did not recognize the Windows, because it did not have the certain, I guess, drivers, or the Windows did not recognize the computer, because the Windows itself did not have these BIOS drivers that, I guess, come when you install Windows on a computer. It's all very complicated. It's all very technical. I did a lot of research on it. It drove me nuts when I couldn't get it to work, but I had to reinstall Windows, which is okay. It's good to do, to reinstall Windows. Yeah, in most cases. In my case, it's not something that I would like to do, because I begin to, everything, the way that everything is set up makes it, I need it that way. Otherwise, everything just goes into chaos in my mind. And just I get used to it. But at the same time, it's a good idea that you break what you're comfortable with. You challenge yourself, and from that, there's some growth, personal growth, and obviously there's life growth. Well, not life growth, but there's just a lot of growth that happens when you challenge yourself, when you get yourself out of the norm, out of the comfort zone. So that's what that is. So now I'm uploading some things that once they're done uploading, I'll begin the transition of, first of all, I'm going to see if the old hard drive works by itself, so I don't have to, so then that's one thing I don't have to worry about. If the old hard drive in this computer would normally load up Windows as I never even came to the picture, this way I can just completely return the computer and not have to worry about it, and then begin working with my computer, which in my hard drive I would probably need to reinstall Windows. I'm not too crazy about it. I already organized everything that as if it were to be needed, because I've done this before a few times, even though it's a nightmare to do for the first time. Obviously, I'll need to put these things back. These are RAM from the new computer. I put my old piece of RAM in there, because these are 512 megabytes, and I'm using 2 gigabyte each. Yeah, it's actually, it'll be like a big hassle, because here I pretty much dissected this whole computer, but I never put it back together. Just something that I never finished because of, I guess, my lack of organization skills. It's just the way I am, unfortunately. It's something I need to work on, something I try to continuously work on, where I get myself to start something and then I abandon it or I give up. It's something, I'm going to be forced to put this all together and get used to using it. So it is what it is. I think it's better though, maybe in a way. It's a good sign. This way I don't have to sit here and play video games, because there's a lot of video content that I wanna kind of organize, put together, and upload. Which some people might find it interesting. It won't be, you know, groundbreaking. But yeah, I mean, actually, it'll be groundbreaking to a few people, but it's very interesting stuff. What do I want to say? The 4 things I'm uploading right now, which hopefully nothing will crash and everything will be in sync. Skyrim Part 108, which, I don't know. Tribes Ascend, which I titled Indecision Juggernaut Gameplay, because in the beginning of the game I spent about half an hour fiddling out with the interface with so much indecision on how to spend all my in-game resources, because there was a reset. The game is a beta. Han Witchslayer playthrough, in addition to my project of getting all the heroes, and a Terraria playthrough, which I always wanted to do. I thought at the time when I was playing it, it was such a fun game. I had a blast playing it, and I was fiddling around with Steam, and I realized, oh yeah, I have Terraria. And I also read the news that Terraria is no longer going to be receiving updates, and the game is, I guess, deemed complete. In the same sense where games like, for instance, Final Fantasy VII, or that's a great game in my eyes. It was just a very powerful game when I played it many years ago. And I have a lot of memories around it when I was playing it, obviously, and just certain life events that were happening. So it's very interesting that gaming, in essence, in my life, certain games I have, memories of the games, but I have life events that were happening around me playing the game. At the same time, my friend's brother only wants it temporarily because he's here on spring break and wants to use his computer, but I'm not going to be interested in getting it back because it's such a hassle. And it was an idea before in my mind that I need to upgrade my computer. At the time, it was simply to, I guess, to be able to play some of the newer games, some of the new PC games that require such a high demand on your computer, unfortunately. But in this case now, I'm very interested in recordings and doing some type of videos around around video games. I'll need to consider that, and at some point I'll need to, I guess, accomplish that. But this is such a logistical nightmare that awaits. I'm just looking at it. I mean, it'll be fun, I guess. And I was thinking maybe I should make a video of putting this computer together, but maybe when I decide to, not when I decide to, once I get it all done and be able to purchase myself I guess a better computer. And unfortunately, the thing is with me, I mean, I was looking at that before. I haven't looked at it recently, but I will need to unfortunately get the best of the best solid state hard drives, the most latest advanced processor, the most advanced graphics card, to do all the things that I'd want to do, especially with gaming. I would want to, I want to make the best quality possible. But these things, if these are not very important things now. And if they are important, they're only important because you, the person, or I in this case, deem them to be important. Because to simply have a super duper computer to be able to just simply play games does not seem right. Well, I guess in some cases, I guess everybody makes their own decisions on how they want to, or their perception, or how they perceive these things, these materialistic products. And in some point, I mean, you have to consider how relevant is this to somebody who's out living on the streets starving for food. Not very relevant. So for me to even have my old computer to be able to go back to, yeah, I won't be able to play Skyrim, I won't be able to do this and that, but it won't be the end of the world. And yeah, it's not the end of the world to lose these materialistic things. And that's very important because there's been a lot there's a lot of cases of people losing their jobs or losing all their money and simply killing themselves because they feel that that's it. And unfortunately, it does happen. You can read this on the news. And I do have more of a personal, I guess a personal experience, but somebody in my family knew somebody who was in that type of situation. They decided to, somehow they made a bad business decision and they lost a lot of money. And they thought to themselves that it was a good idea to kill themselves and kill their, in this case it was a wife. So this person killed his wife and then killed himself because I guess he made a bad financial decision. And I guess in America, it's a big deal. Maybe in Russia it's a big deal too. It's very important to have lots of money, or to make. I don't know. I don't know. I'll leave it at that. I don't know too much beyond that. I just think it's a little bit silly. But that's the truth, I think, in some people. They put a lot of faith, I guess. And people put faith in God, people believe in all sorts of things, but people put faith in these little things, these little things in life. Let's say a lighter, for instance. Some essence of it, it is important because you get used to a certain lifestyle and you get used to these things being of some purpose to you. But these things are only a purpose to you because you believe in them being a purpose to you. For instance, I smoke cigarettes, so for me matches and a lighter is very important. At the same time, a person who goes camping all the time, for them matches and lighter is also important because they use the lighter and the match to start a campfire. At the same time, a person who does neither of those things would think that this is almost useless. I mean, there's no point to it. But then at the same time, a person who spends a lot of time in the kitchen cooking and using, I guess, not a modern stove where sometimes the light within the stove that's always on, that's used to ignite the gas. I'm not talking about electric. I'm not talking about electric stove. I'm talking about a more, I guess, more old traditional one where if you open up the plate of the stove, um, you have just a constant fire that's there. Simply when you flick the switch to let the gas out, the fire lights um, the stove, so you have those little flames coming out. So in that sense, matches and lighters are also important. So with that, what I want to say is we individually decide for ourselves what's important, what's not important. And we make that decision ourselves. And it's important we make that decision ourselves. It's very important. Why? Well, because it's our lives. It's my life. It's your life. You know, this is that's why it's important. Simply that, because it's your life. And sometimes things in life do happen where it doesn't happen in your favor. Like in this case, I unexpectedly have to return this computer that does not belong to me. That was, I guess, a decent gift at the time. But it's not what an idea is not. All right, this bad thing happens, for instance, or this negative thing happens. The idea is what you do next. What are you going to do next? What am I going to do next? Well, I have to adapt to my old computer in this case. And I have to say, well, there's no more Skyrim playthrough. And at the same time, I have to spend more time now, or at least dedicate more energy and more time to making making correct financial decisions with my time and my money. So I could get the things I want without having to worry about, I guess in this case, I had to borrow a computer because I wanted to do something. So I had to rely on somebody else. And in my philosophy, my, I guess, approach to life, where how and what I want to accomplish in life and be part of, and it requires complete independence from essentially all institutions, whether it be a family, whether it be a place of work, all of it. And in doing so, I hope to find, I guess, myself, which is very important to me. Finding myself and who I am, and etc., 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 minus all this. Well, not minus, but it seems it's very easy for people to get caught up in something, and like, especially I feel it in, I guess, the way things are. I mean, just living across from New York City, I could imagine it would be much harder from living in let's say near Hollywood or in Hollywood, where in that sense you have this, I guess you have this pressure from the environment where you need to always look your best. It just seems that way. I'm not sure how true it is, but it seems that way. And when if you live in, I guess, Hollywood or around that, you have this pressure, this environmental pressure. I guess to look your best. In Hollywood, blockbuster movies, people watch them and imagine this thing. And I guess in the same way, there's also this very similar environmental pressure. If you, for instance, maybe live in a city of Moscow in Russia, there's this very, you have to have lots of money, first of all. You have to be very rich, and you have to be, it just seems that way because for most people, what they see is what they perceive. What they feel is what they feel. But I'm always looking somewhere else. I'm trying to look underneath it. I'm trying to look above it. I'm trying to look at it sideways, and I'm trying to look at it from a concrete, I guess, perspective. I'm not really sure what I'm talking about anymore. But okay, that's what happened. Personal chat. That's what I need to do. It's stupid things. That's not really important. These things.